What if I told you that everything you're stressed about, your job, your relationships, your bank account, even your identity, isn't actually real? Now, before you click away, I'm not saying your problems don't exist. Your anxiety is real. Your bills are real. That knot in your stomach when you wake up on Monday morning? Very real. But here's the paradox the ancient sages discovered thousands of years ago. The universe we experience is what they called Maya, a cosmic illusion. And yet, the anxiety we feel in this illusion feels absolutely crushing. So how do we reconcile these two truths? In this video, we're going to explore one of the most profound questions in human existence. If the universe is an illusion, how do we handle real-life anxiety? We'll dive into what the Vedas and Upanishads teach about Maya, what quantum physics is discovering about the nature of reality, and most importantly, how you can actually apply this ancient wisdom to find peace in your busy, stressful life. If you're ready to expand your consciousness and discover a new way of navigating anxiety, hit that subscribe button. You're in the right place. Let's start with something we can all relate to. You're lying in bed at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, heart racing. Your mind is running through everything that could go wrong tomorrow. The presentation, the deadline, the conversation you're dreading, the bills piling up. Your anxiety feels like a physical weight on your chest. Sound familiar? Americans are experiencing record levels of anxiety. According to the American Psychological Association, nearly 40% of adults report feeling more anxious than they did the previous year. We're a culture built on the hustle, the constant drive for more, better, faster, and it's burning us out. But here's where it gets interesting. While we're drowning in anxiety, scientists at places like Princeton and Stanford are investigating consciousness in ways that challenge everything we thought we knew about reality. They're discovering that our perception of the world might be far more limited and far more constructed than we realize. Dr. David Chalmers, a leading consciousness researcher at NYU, famously calls this the hard problem of consciousness. How does physical matter in the brain create subjective experience? The answer, it seems, might not be simple biology. Some researchers are beginning to ask, what if consciousness isn't produced by the brain, but is fundamental to the universe itself? What if our brains are more like receivers than generators? This is exactly what the ancient sages in India were saying thousands of years ago. They called this reality Maya, a Sanskrit word that means that which is not. It's the idea that what we perceive with our senses is a veil, a temporary appearance that obscures a deeper, eternal reality. Brahman, the ultimate reality, is the only thing that truly exists, and everything else is just a play of names and forms. Think of it like this. When you're watching a movie, you get scared during a horror scene. You feel your heart pound, your palms sweat. But you know the monster isn't real, it's just light and sound on a screen. Yet your body responds as if it's actually happening. Maya works the same way. Our lives are the movie, and our brains are the projector. But the screen, the light itself, that's the eternal truth. Let's dive deeper into what Maya really means, and how the ancient texts describe our relationship with reality. The Vedas and Upanishads, some of the oldest spiritual texts in existence, dating back over 4,000 years, describe Maya not as a malicious deception, but more like a dream. You know how when you're dreaming, everything feels completely real? You feel emotions, you experience sensations, you even feel pain. It's only when you wake up that you realize it was all a projection of your own mind. The sages called this Atma, the eternal soul or true self. Atma is the unchanging, eternal core of who you really are, beyond your thoughts, beyond your personality, beyond your job title. And Atma is separate from Ahankara, or the ego. The ego is the I that you identify with your name, your roles, your successes and failures, your anxieties and fears. The ego is what the sages call the Jiva, the individual soul that gets caught up in the drama of Maya. Here's a metaphor that makes sense for us today. Think of your mind as a smartphone. The hardware is the same for everyone, but your apps are unique. Your apps are your conditioning, your beliefs, your fears, your memories. Your anxiety app gets triggered by certain notifications. But the Atma, your true self, is not the phone, and it's not the apps. It's the electricity that powers the whole thing. The electricity doesn't care what app you're using. It's just pure, uninterrupted presence. Swami Vivekananda, who brought Eastern philosophy to the West in the late 19th century, famously said, "You are the soul, not the body. You are the Atma, not the Jiva." This concept of Maya is deeply connected to what Eastern philosophies call karma. Karma isn't cosmic punishment, it's the law of cause and effect, like a spiritual version of Newton's third law. Every action sends ripples through the fabric of reality. But here's the game-changing insight. When you're caught in Maya, you're trapped in the cycle of karma and suffering, called samsara. But when you wake up to your true nature as Atma, you can start to break free. When anxiety strikes, it's the ego, the Jiva, that's anxious. The Atma is always at peace. Your thoughts are afraid. Your ego is afraid. But you, the true self, remain untouched. As the Bhagavad Gita puts it, the soul can never be cut, burned, drowned, or dried. It is eternal, omnipresent, and beyond suffering. So if you are already perfect, already whole, already at peace, then why do you feel so anxious? Because you've forgotten who you are. You've identified completely with your surface-level self. You're so busy scrolling through your apps that you've forgotten you're the electricity that powers them. Now, this might sound like ancient mysticism, but here's where it gets mind-blowing. Science is starting to catch up. Let's start with quantum physics. At the subatomic level, particles don't have a fixed existence until they're observed. The very act of measuring a quantum particle changes its behavior. This is the famous observer effect. Reality is, in some sense, constructed by consciousness. Dr. Amit Goswami, a physicist from the University of Oregon, has been at the forefront of translating quantum theory into consciousness studies. He argues that consciousness, not matter, is the ground of all being. Dr. Fritjof Capra, in his seminal book The Tao of Physics, draws direct parallels between modern physics and ancient mysticism. Both describe a universe that's interconnected, where all boundaries are illusions. Quantum entanglement describes how two particles can remain connected instantaneously across the universe, what Einstein called spooky action at a distance. This echoes the Vedic concept that all beings are one, that we're all part of the same cosmic consciousness. But let's go to neuroscience. Researchers at Princeton have been studying consciousness and have found that brain activity is not a direct creator of consciousness, but might be a receiver, like a radio tuning into a station. The brain doesn't generate the signal, it tunes into it. This resonates profoundly with Maya. Our brain is the hardware that projects the movie of Maya based on the frequency it's tuned to. Dr. Christoph Koch, a German-American neuroscientist, has been working with brain imaging and integrated information theory to explore consciousness. He suggests that consciousness may be a fundamental property of the universe, not just a byproduct of biological processes. Now, the astrophysics side. The theory of the multiverse, that our universe is just one bubble among an infinite number, is widely discussed in scientific circles. It suggests that what we perceive as reality is just one slice of a much larger existence. The sages called this locus different planes of existence, different dimensions of consciousness. Think of our universe as a single channel on a vast cosmic radio. The sages of the Vedas said we exist in a sea of vibration. Nada Brahma, the universe is sound. Modern string theory says the universe is made of vibrating strings of energy. Same idea, different language. The modern astrophysicist Carl Sagan famously said, "The cosmos is within us. We are made of star stuff. We are a way for the universe to know itself." This echoes the ancient Vedic idea that the ultimate reality, Brahman, is within us and is us. We are the universe perceiving itself, which is why our consciousness shapes our reality. So when you're feeling anxious, you're experiencing the contraction of consciousness into a single point of view. You're identifying with the character in the movie rather than the projector. You're the electricity that's forgotten it's electricity and thinks it's a toaster. Okay, so the universe is an illusion and your eternal consciousness. How does that help you right now, in the middle of a panic attack at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday? Here's the good news. Once you understand that your anxiety is a creation of your ego, a character in the play, you can start to distance yourself from it. You're not your anxiety. You're the awareness that notices the anxiety. Here are some practical, scientifically backed ways to apply this to your life. Practice 1. The witness technique. When anxiety arises, mentally separate yourself from it. Instead of saying, "I am anxious," say, "I notice anxiety arising in my consciousness." The moment you observe a thought, you are no longer fused with it. You become the observer of the anxiety, not the anxiety itself. Try this for 5 minutes a day, just sitting, watching your thoughts like clouds in the sky, and noticing that the sky, your awareness, is always clear, no matter the weather. Practice 2. The holy pause. Before you react to a stressful trigger, take one conscious breath. That's it. One breath. Feel your feet on the floor, soften your jaw, release tension from your belly. Let awareness return to your center. This single breath interrupts the momentum of reaction, the trance of Maya, and returns you to the present moment. Try this today when your boss emails you something stressful. It takes 1 second, and it changes everything. Practice 3. Reframe your thoughts. When your mind offers a thought that says, "You're alone," or "Everything is going wrong," let it pass like a leaf floating on a stream, and replace it with a truth your nervous system can absorb. Choose something simple. Love is here. I am held. One presence governs. Repeat it until your body calms down. Practice 4. The daily review. At the end of your day, take 5 minutes to tend your garden. Notice where you stayed calm and feel gratitude. Notice where you got stressed and let presence dissolve the heaviness. Offer the day back to the universe with appreciation. Practice 5. Forgiveness as a frequency. Forgiveness is the release of the charge that keeps the past alive in your body. When you forgive others and yourself, you stop feeding the energy of separation. You return your energy back to the present moment where life is actually happening. The key is to realize that you are the presence behind all these practices. It's not about adding self-improvement tasks to your to-do list. It's about realizing that you're already the source of peace. The more you practice identifying as the witness, the more you'll step out of the drama of the ego, and the more your anxiety will dissolve. So let's bring it all together. The universe we perceive is Maya, a beautiful, complex, and sometimes terrifying illusion. Our anxiety is real, but it's real in the same way that a nightmare is real. It feels real while you're in it, but it dissolves when you wake up, and you are the awareness that can wake up. You are not your thoughts. You are not your anxiety. You are not your job, your failures, your achievements, or your relationships. You are the eternal, unchanging Atma. You are the electricity powering the entire show. The science confirms that reality is far stranger and more interconnected than we can see. The sages knew this thousands of years ago. They didn't see the conflict between science and spirit. They saw a continuum of understanding. So here's your challenge this week. When anxiety hits, try asking yourself, who is feeling this? You might just find that the one who is aware of the anxiety is completely at peace. So, what do you think? Is this all just spiritual woo-woo? Or is there something deeper to the idea that you are not your anxiety? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, Shai. I read every single one. If this video resonated with you, give it a like to help other seekers find this content. Subscribe to Nature and Soul and hit the bell icon, because in our next video, we're going to dive even deeper. What quantum physics reveals about the soul's journey after death. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Until next time, remember, the anxiety isn't you. The peace is. Take care and see you in the next one.